So good morning, and I do mean morning. It's pretty early. This is how some of my mornings start out. When I'm hauling, it's 4:45. So it's not even going to be light for like 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. Till it's about 7, the sun will actually come up. I've got my little stack on behind me here. My little trailer stack. One that I showed you yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and just leave the gate open because we got roofers coming back in this morning. They got the roof about halfway done yesterday. I'm so happy at the possibility of having a non-leaky roof on this house. It's just amazing to me. Okay, so when I come out of this driveway, I've got to come across the culvert. Now I've got deep ditches on either side of the culvert, so I've got to make sure my trailer comes out straight. I don't want to drop the axle in one of those ditches. It's always a worry for me coming out of there. Stuff down so it's not so bright in here. And I've got my completed camera mount here today, so I don't know how this is going to work out. It may be sitting too high now. I don't know. I just have to play it by ear and see. I do a lot of playing it by ear. A lot. A lot. And there's not a lot of scenery in the dark, but I thought I'd just show you what it's actually like doing this job. You know? The scenic side and the not so scenic side. Well, I like being out in nighttime though. It's kind of weird. When I was a little kid, I was afraid of the dark. I think a lot of little kids are. They don't understand it, but, you know, I thought something was going to get me in the dark. Well, I'm not afraid of the dark now. Haven't been for a long, long time. And I worked, I don't know, 10 years of graveyard shifts as a cop, give or take, about that. I worked a few day shifts when they forced me to do it, but my preference was to work the graveyard shift. I got something rattling up here. What is it? It's that. What is that? Oh, little coon, stay out of the road. And a little raccoon back there. I try not to kill anything when I'm driving. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. Sometimes they just run right under you and there's nothing you can do. But I really try very hard not to run over any little critters. I hate running over critters. It makes me sick. That's one of the biggest hazards of driving at night, because your nocturnal creatures are all out and about. Your possums and your raccoons and skunks and armadillos, they're all out on the roads, so you just have to be careful. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people intentionally run over stuff. I don't get that. I think that's a form of evil, actually. I think if you know somebody who intentionally runs over animals, you know somebody who's got evil in their soul. I can't prove that scientifically, but I believe it wholeheartedly. I mean, I've had to kill animals for reasons of, you know, being humane, putting them out of their misery when they were damaged to where they weren't going to get fixed. Wild critters. And some not so wild critters. And I've hunted for meat. You know, if you eat meat, you are at least in a roundabout way responsible for the deaths of animals because we eat the meat. So you might as well own that. But as far as intentionally killing something, the only times that I've done it is to eat it or to put it out of its misery if it was hit by a car or whatever. So yeah. And I don't like doing that either, but that's a responsibility we have as stewards of, wildlife and the natural world. Sometimes you have to do things that are really shitty, but they need to be done to, end needless suffering. So, yeah. And sometimes they need to be done to feed people and to feed other critters, You'd be surprised what meat-eating little beast chickens can be. I mean, you think of chickens as being out in a little pen and you throw down some corn for them every day and they go around and peck and eat this and eat that. Well, them little suckers will eat anything you give them, anything. They don't care. They don't care if it's mineral, vegetable, marshmallows, other chickens. They will eat everything. They're cannibalistic omnivores. They have no hesitation in eating a piece of chicken or a piece of beef or a marshmallow or a bowl of gravy. They will eat literally pretty much anything edible. They do not care. They're opportunistic and they're ravenous, apparently, because they will eat everything. Seeds, they'll eat it all. And I don't think they're the only critters like that. I think most creatures are opportunistic eaters because in the natural world, food's a little harder to come by. You've either got to hunt it, find it, or whatever. It doesn't just, plop down in your lap usually, unless you're sitting under an apple tree and one falls down and hits you. But aside from that, you have to go out looking for food. Bugs, they love bugs. Ticks, they eat ticks. I mean, chickens will eat everything. Anything and everything. Rats, mice, heck yeah. They're all about it. All about it. So this is Marlow, Oklahoma. Main intersection in town. I'm always surprised at how much traffic is out here between 3 and 5 anyway. Between 3 and 5 is usually the quietest time of the night, or used to be in Craig. I don't know about here. I mean, the bars in Colorado close at 2 in the morning, so by about 3 o'clock, everybody's home. Everything's quiet. And then about 5-ish, people start coming out, heading off to work here and there. But between 3 and 5, it was pretty still. My favorite time of the night, actually. So when I came through Lawton yesterday, I topped off my diesel tank. I ran by the Apache Casino over there. They had diesel for $3.26 a gallon. Really good deal. The cheapest I can get it on this side, over here on 81, is $3.33. There were several stations in Duncan who had it for $3.33 last week. This week there's only one. If they still do, I don't know. They did the other day. that guy back here being very weird. He's sitting on the right side of my vehicle over here. There he goes. He was just sitting back there on my rear quarter panel. I don't like when people do that. It's like, go on around, please. Just go around. Don't sit there on me. So you might notice when I go through towns, I usually go through in the center lane. That's how I was taught to do it in truck driving school. Now it depends on the town, and it depends on the amount of left-hand turns being made in front of me. But look at small towns. If you go through in the center lane and left lane, it gets you over out of the trees for one thing if you've got a tall load. And it also gets you out from behind people making right turns. You still have to slow down, obviously, for people making left turns. It's just, a given. I'm not so sure this camera is even sitting anywhere near remotely straight, so I'm going to pull over here in the Duncan Y parking lot and see if I can find a flat spot to sit on and level this camera. I'm pretty sure it's leaning far to the right now, because this mount that I've got in here, it has to be actually leveled. And I can see it's crooked as hell. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is real life here. Yeah. This is how it really happens. Oh my gosh. I really like dealing with the store over in Amarillo where I picked these up yesterday. They pretty much got it together. The guy that runs the places, he knows what he's doing. I usually don't have any issues at all picking stuff up over there. Once in a great while they'll get busy in the summer, like peak season. I might have to wait a little bit for somebody to free up to, give me the paperwork or whatever, but it's usually not a big deal at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop through here. This is what the Duncan Y looks like at 5:05 in the morning. It's pretty deserted. It's been relatively deserted anyway because their quality's gone down the shitter basically since they got bought out by this company in Colorado. They don't do maintenance anymore, and they don't stock anything that they used to stock. They quit stocking my fluffy coffee. I actually had some of the fluffy coffee mix, the cappuccino mix, that a girl at one of the other stores was nice enough to give me some. I was trying like crazy to buy some, and I couldn't buy it because it's evidently been discontinued. So it's not totally their fault, that part of it. Not totally. Okay. That should, well, it's still not. I'm trying to level it up with my known landmarks on my hood, which are my windshield washer spigots. Okay, I think that's good. I think that is pretty good. We'll have to see how, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. I liked it sitting flat on the board yesterday, but I thought I should put this on here because this particular mount, if I can get it to work, I can swivel the view, but it sits up in the middle of my dashboard too. So I don't know, that might end up being a safety issue if it starts obstructing my view. I think we should be okay though. It's not up there. Not any worse than my rearview mirror, really. Okay. It's an amazingly busy amount of traffic to me for this time of morning. Seems excessive. But the population here is like astronomically huger than the population where I'm from, Craig, Colorado. And there are a lot of different industries here that we just don't have in Colorado. So people are out and about at a lot more than just, you know, what I would consider normal hours. Alright, so here we go, we're off and running. Where I'm going with this load is Tomball, Texas. And I've got a route prepared. It's going to take me an hour longer to take the route that I'm going to take because I'm avoiding Dallas, Fort Worth, and Waco. I'm going around both of them, which takes some doing. I still have to go through Cleburne, which is kind of similar to Dallas. It's just down southwest of Dallas a little bit. And I have to go through Weatherford. It's got pretty heavy traffic there. Okay, that guy didn't like my lights. A lot of people don't like my fog lights. They'll flash me. Sometimes I flash them back just to show them I've got my dims on, but I'm afraid I'll blind them doing that too. I mean, my brights are pretty bright. And we're on a divided highway, so it's not like it was that big of a deal anyway. But I get it. I don't like being bright lighted either at all. I get pissed off if somebody bright lights me. Tell you what really makes me furious is when somebody's coming down the road opposite me and we both got our lights dimmed, and they know that I have my lights dimmed because I usually don't dim them until the person can see me dim them. And this is why I do this. I want them to know that my lights are on dim so they don't bright light me thinking they're not. Because some people just bright light the shit out of you because they like to, or they don't want to dim their lights. But that's not the ones that drive me craziest. The ones that make me the craziest are the ones that wait until they're about not quite even with you, just a little ahead of you, and then they flash their brights on. And they do it just as they're passing you, so you get blinded because they put them on too soon. But it's a snarky, passive-aggressive way of bright lighting you because there's nothing you can do. You can't, I mean, you know, they just get you. It doesn't matter whether you bright lighted them or not. They do it anyway just to be shitty. And I've noticed that going on a lot lately. The last couple of years, that has turned into a thing. And I don't know if somebody decided that it was funny to do that to people. It's not freaking funny. It's dangerous doing that to people, actually. So, even when people do that to me, I try not to, like, feel like I need to retaliate. It pisses me off, but I try not to, like, give in to the to the urge to retaliate. There's no retaliation because by the time you can react, they're already behind you. You know, they're already gone by. But yeah, that's one of my night driving pet peeves these days. The other one, of course, is the person that just refuses to dim their damn lights anyway, and they're blinding the shit out of everybody. And everybody's trying to tell them, dim your fucking lights. You know, everybody's flashing them, and they just go on and just obliviously ignore everybody, or they just intentionally ignore you because they don't want to dim their damn lights. You know, they want to run their brights, and they're going to. There are a lot of people like that. You'd be surprised how many people are actually like that. It's a thing. I don't understand it. It's like, just have a little courtesy. So I actually check my fog lights periodically just to make sure they're pointing at the ground out in front of my truck about 30 feet. That's right where I want them anyway. That's where they do me the most good, because they're not exactly fog lights. They're supplemental headlights for this truck. The way the Dodge front end is configured, if you don't have supplemental lighting in the center of your front of your truck, you've got kind of a dark spot in the middle, in between your lights. And it's just not conducive to really being able to see well. I'll show you what I mean. I'll turn off my see what I mean? That's with no center lights. There you can really see it. There's like a black hole in the middle of the front of the truck, and now I just filled it up. So those lights are not pointing up at oncoming traffic. They're pointed down about 30 feet in front of my truck, 25 to 30 feet in front of my truck, toward the ground. And so when people bright light me, I know it's not because my lights are pointing into their eyes. I mean, they may look kind of bright, but they're not shining up. What makes bright lights so insidiously bad and makes them blind you so much is that they shine upward more, because a lot of these people don't have their lights adjusted anyway. They don't even know that you can adjust your headlights, a lot of people. But you're supposed to have your headlights adjusted so they're not shining way up into the stratosphere. They need to be pointing more down at the ground to light the ground in front of you. But, you know, brights by their very nature shine a little more upward than your dims. So, you know, a lot of times because they sit higher on the vehicle. And if you've noticed too, like really tall trucks with bright lights will seriously blind the hell out of you. Even if they've got their dims on. You may think they've got their brights on, but they're probably running their dims. It's just they sit so high that the light is, you know, coming in at a higher angle, and it's, you know, blinding the shit out of you because of that. So yeah, it's a thing. And for those of you out there who did not know that your headlights are adjustable, you need to go look up your car model and see how to adjust them, and go check the adjustment so you're not just shooting your headlights up into the sky and doing you no good out on the road at night. They need to be pointing specifically at a downward angle out in front of you and not up into the stratosphere. So go watch a YouTube video and learn how to adjust your headlights correctly. You'll be a lot happier because you'll be able to see better at night while you're driving if they're actually adjusted the way they're supposed to be. You know, used to be, back when God was young, me and God were young, you could have all this kind of stuff done at your local gas station. You know, now it's a little harder to find well, if you can get into a mechanic at all, it's usually for something major. It's usually something you have to wait in line for months to get in for an appointment. And they don't really mess with minor stuff like that so much, I don't think, anymore. So there's a lot of things you need to know how to do with your vehicles yourself if you want them to ever get done. You know, and that's one of those things. It's not difficult to do. I can do it. You know, if I can do it, pretty much anybody can do it, okay? I'm just an old lady. I happen to own some tools because my husband gave me a bag of tools to go with this truck. But I've worked on my own cars all my life, not so much because I want to be a freaking mechanic and not because I'm really good at it, but because a lot of the time I didn't have money to pay a mechanic. I never took anything to a mechanic unless I was having an engine replaced in something. I usually did minor work myself. You know, changing batteries, changing starters, adjusting headlights, stuff like that, changing out alternators, rebuild a couple of carburetors, you know, the easy stuff. That stuff's not that hard. If if somebody shows you how to do it, it's really not that difficult. It's just a matter of knowing how to do it and not being afraid to try, you know. Adjustment on this camera is doing much better now. Much more better. I'm constantly checking my mirrors, looking at down both sides of my trailers, making sure there's nothing dragging, nothing hanging, make sure my straps don't come unrolled, that kind of thing. I went around last night when I got home. I went and cut some cardboard chunks to put under my straps up against the trailer. I used whatever I had there when I picked them up, which was basically my box that my rubber gloves came in, and a windshield cleaning pad. I used those to put in between my ratchet ends and the trailer so I don't scratch the paint on the trailer. And, you know, with the ratchet bodies, the strap ratchet bodies. So when I got home last night, I took all those out. I cut some nice pieces of cardboard so it would at least look professional when I get down here. I won't have like torn pieces of rubber glove box falling off the trailer when I undo the straps. It'll be little squares of cardboard, you know. Looks better, gives it more protection. But anything, if you're going to strap anything up against a painted, or I think these are actually powder coat surfaces, but if you're going to put a ratchet strap or anything metallic up against a finish like that, you need to have something between the paint and the ratchet body, the metal of the ratchet body, so you don't scratch shit up. So that's what that's for. I used to carry, back when I was constantly strapping things down, I used to carry a milk crate with a bunch of like rubber pads and stuff in it, pieces of rubber, pieces of wide semi-truck size strap, you know, like the 3 or 4 inch wide straps, chunks of that were about 6 inches long. I would use that, all that kind of stuff in between the straps and the body. You know, just protects it. Well, I don't have that stuff anymore. That was years ago. That was before I retired the first time. I don't know whatever happened to all that stuff, but it's probably out in the barn somewhere. So I don't typically carry it with me, but with all the shipping we've been doing and all the stuff, I have lots of cardboard laying around, so I can carry little chunks of cardboard with me if I think about it. It's so rare that I even strap a load anymore. I mean, once in a blue moon now I have actually a stack. This is the first one I've had in forever. So I don't just typically carry that stuff in the truck anymore. I guess I should start just in case. If they're going to start giving me little stacks, I don't mind doing these little short stacks. I just don't want to do the big ones. I do not want to do the tall ones where I have to crawl up on the trailer and crawl up on, crawl up on top of the first trailer and then crawl up on top of the second trailer to reach the strap holes on the third trailer. that's dangerous shit. I just don't want to do that anymore. Not interested in falling off and breaking my neck or my back or a leg or whatever. Seems like a bad way to have fun. Seems like a bad way to do things. So I can smell my cappuccino, my English toffee cappuccino here. I may never, after I use up this powder, I may never get to drink this again because I think they discontinued it. And all the other brands that make that flavor, they are not really English toffee, they're just sugar. This actually tastes like English toffee. It's Superior brand, and I've looked everywhere to see if I could order it. I actually ordered some. People still have it up as being on their list of stuff they sell, but they don't have any in stock. So I think the company is Farmers Brothers Coffee that makes it down in Dallas or Fort Worth. I think they discontinued it altogether, which is way too bad because it was the best cappuccino they had. But it's good too in a way because it's pretty fattening, and I like it a lot. So I was drinking way too much of it anyway. So I guess that's one way to get me to quit drinking it, is just discontinue the shit. But I have enough for one more cup in a glass jar at home. One of the ladies at the convenience store that I frequent gave me a cup full of the stuff. I was trying to buy a bag of it off of them. They didn't have an extra bag, but she filled me up a Go cup. That's not a giant one, but she filled one up for me and sent that home with me. She said, "Here you go, you can take this." I'm like, okay. I felt kind of weird in there begging for a cappuccino mix, but you know. So she took pity on me, so she sent me home with some. So that's what I've got. I've got one more cup's worth, and then it's gone. There was only enough in the cup to make 2 cups. It takes an awful lot of this stuff to make a big cup of coffee. So that's all I've got left is just for 1 cup. So I'm going to enjoy this one today, because this may be the next to the last cup of this stuff I ever drink, ever. I mean, if they've actually discontinued it, which I think they have, that's it. There is no more. And as sad as that is, it's also good because, I can drink this stuff 3 or 4 times a day and just be as big as a house because it's just fattening sugar. So yeah. And it's a chemical sludge, I'm sure. I don't think there's anything natural in it. It's just a concoction of chemicals. But man, it sure is tasty. So I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts because it's not going to last much longer. Just however long I wait now between having the next cup. I'll probably wait a month or 2 and then, then sadly drink the last cup, but savor every bit of it. Because that'll probably be it forever. I hate it when they discontinue things I really like, and they do discontinue things I like all the time. Like my favorite cereal ever was discontinued decades ago, and I've written them and asked them to bring it back. They won't do it. And other people like it too, but evidently not enough people like it to make it where they want to make it anymore. And that was fortified oat flakes, best cereal freaking ever. So now I know how bad cereal is for you, so it's not that big of an issue, but I still miss the taste of it. It was really good stuff. Chippo's potato chips. Those were really an interesting thing. They were only around for a little while in the 1970s, I think. Like the mid-1970s, mid to late. And I think they were a regional thing because not too many people remember them. They came in a box. They didn't come in a bag like potato chips. They came in a box. And they were like kind of along the lines of Pringles, but they weren't formed like that. But they were extruded potato that were shaped into chips. And they were really good. But they didn't last super long. See, another thing they discontinued that I really liked was Space Food Sticks. When I was a kid in the 60s, of course the space race was going on, and anything space was, all the rage. if it had something to do with astronauts flying to the moon and space, then it was a big deal. You know, it was popular. And space food sticks were one of those things. They were just basically candy rolls that were in a stick shape. They were kind of chewy. I don't know. They were just kind of, they were kind of like, well, they weren't like a Tootsie Roll because they were soft. Something akin to that, but not exactly. I can't exactly describe them, but they were soft and they were about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches long, and they were like maybe 3/8 of an inch across, just a little stick, and you chew on them. They were supposed to be like space food. You could eat it in a space suit. Because we all wore space suits in the 60s, you know. Had to be able to fit the food through our little spacesuit helmets. Yeah. Okay, anyway. We had some pretty funny things in the 60s. The 60s was kind of a cool time. I don't remember much about the early 60s. The first thing I really remember about the 60s is President Kennedy's funeral. I remember that. I don't really remember the assassination. I mean, I was a little kid. I was, what, 3, 4 years old? So I don't really, I'm not one of those people, oh, I remember right where I was when I heard that Kennedy was assassinated, because I don't. I have no recollection of that at all. But I remember sitting on my dad's lap watching John F. Kennedy's funeral live on TV, on this little black and white TV that we had. And I remember thinking, this is something serious, because Mom and Dad were sad. You know, they were like, wow, this is a sad day. And I could tell it was a bad thing, you know. I remember them leading the horse with the boots and the stirrups backwards. So that's my first recollection of anything that I can actually relate to a specific date, you know, as a really young kid. And I would say that was before I started kindergarten, I'm pretty sure. So but yeah, space stuff was super popular, super popular in the mid and late 60s. That, and everything had to be modern. Everything was mod, super mod. The kitchen appliances up until the mid 60s were basically white. I think there might have been some pink ones too, kind of a 50s thing. In the 60s, we had 3 distinct colors that relate to the 1960s for kitchen appliances. You had white, of course, but you had Harvest Gold, which is just gold. See, I had to flash this guy. I'm not bright lighting you, dude. You're being overly sensitive now. And you're sitting way higher than me. It shouldn't be bothering you anyway. Regardless. I mean, if my brights were on, yeah, but not on my dims. So, the other one was avocado green. There's another one flashing at me. All these people, they didn't see me dim my lights, so they assume they're on bright, even though they're not. And I'm guilty of doing the same thing to people, to be honest. If I don't see them dim them, I don't think they've dimmed them. And I'll flash them if they're bright. And then they'll flash me back and I'll go, oh, well, crap. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, white. I think there was like an off-white, too. Like an ivory, maybe. But for sure, Harvest Gold and avocado green were... Oh, and then a rust. They're kind of a burnt sienna. Kind of a brown... Kind of a brown color. I can't remember the name of that one. So those were the basic colors you could get appliances in. I'm pretty sure in the 50s you could get pink appliances, some pink, There might have been some like pale blues and maybe some pale yellows too. I think those were kind of the precursor to the god-awful freaking ugly 60s colors. Because these colors not only were used for kitchen appliances, stoves, refrigerators, dishwashers, they were also used for shag carpeting colors. Now you could get your carpet in pretty much any color you wanted, but the popular colors in the 60s were those three ugly freaking colors. the harvest gold, the avocado green, and the whatever kind of brown that was. Yeah. I mean, now we've got stainless steel. Everybody wants stainless steel. Well, you couldn't even get stainless steel in the 70s, I don't think, unless it was like a commercial appliance. Then you could get stainless steel. But not in the household stuff. I don't think, anyway. I don't remember ever seeing a stainless steel refrigerator until, I don't know, the 90s maybe. 80s or 90s. So I don't know. Oh my gosh, what a pain in the ass. It's a good thing I'm not in a hurry today. I mean, I like that up on the mount, but it's too high. It sets the camera way too high. So I'm going to use that mount. I've got to lower the base, and that's not probably going to happen because it's in the optimum position that we can place it on this dashboard. So I guess I'm just shit out of luck. I'm just going to have to run it on this flat base instead of having it where I can swivel it. So that's the main thing. If I have it on this mount, I can swivel it. But I think I'm going to have to sacrifice swivel ability for safety and stability. You know, it's a fair trade. Yeah, it just is. Why is this fucking thing so hard to get out of here? He drilled a hole in a piece of wood and he stuck a bolt through it. And I cannot get the bolt to come out of the wood without unscrewing the damn thing. This is insane. It shouldn't be this difficult. Seriously. But I've kind of got to get it out of here. There we go. Now it's getting out of there. It's good enough. All right, that'll work. Now maybe I can get this back together. Oh my gosh. The crazy shit I do, I swear. It's enough to... Okay, that's not sitting correctly because that has got to come off too. All right, I can do that. I got this. Gotta take that part of it off. Okay, now I've still got to get that damn bolt out. It's going to cause me trouble. All right, got to keep going. I don't have that far to go with it. It's just about out. I don't understand why it's holding on so tight. If you just drilled a hole and stuck it through it, that doesn't make sense. It's acting like it's threaded through metal, and it's not. It's insane. That's what it is. Fucking nuts. Oh, sorry. Trying to cut down on the cussing. I'm not doing a very good job. Clearly not doing a very good job. Well, welcome to my life, guys. This is what it's really like. It's not all just driving around and talking and being cute, you know. Some of it's interestingly weird. This is weird. I don't know why this bolt is so persistently clinging into this board. Okay, I've got it lower than the surface of the board, so that's good. That's where it needs to be. It needs to be backed out. Now I gotta put my little tie downs back on the camera. Oh, blind me. Got my crazy light here. Crazy bright light. Had to take it in and charge it. I haven't charged that thing up for, I don't know, a year. And I use it relatively often. So I was actually surprised that it lasted as long as it did without a charge. It's a rather impressive flashlight, actually, or torch as they would call it over across the pond. I'm not sure why they call flashlights torches in the UK. I mean, to me, a torch is like a flaming, fiery thing you hold up when you're exploring a cave and you don't have a freaking flashlight, you know? Does anybody else wonder about that? Okay, I think might be good here. All right, that's going to be better for visibility. Now I don't have an obstruction on my dash. I can see the hood of my truck over the top of the camera. So that's probably a good thing. Considering I don't really want to get into any fender benders or anything out in here. Don't need to be wrecking nothing. Nothing. Good English, Sue. Come on, truck. Can't tell how fast these guys are coming. I'm gonna go though. He's just gonna have to slow down for me, I guess, because I cannot tell. Here we go. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Right. He didn't have to slow down for me. He had to stop for the red light that I just avoided by a hair. Okay. There we go. I think I like that better. And I made Bill do that, drill a hole in that for nothing, I guess. Well, not for nothing, because there might be certain circumstances where I want to use it. So I have that option. So it's not for nothing. There probably will be certain landscapes and stuff where I'm going to want that camera elevated. And now I have the ability to do that, but the rest of the time I can just run it standard, flat. Okay. Do I have my mics? Yes, I have my mics. Okay. Just double check and make sure I'm doing all this right. Oh my gosh. Good grief. So 51 should be connecting in with 114 here on my left in about, I don't know, a mile maybe. A mile or less. And it's getting light. Look at that. I do not see the sun. It's cloudy. That's kind of nice. I don't know that I want the bright sun shining in my face as I'm driving down the road. I don't really like that very much. So I kind of like cloudy days because it keeps me from being, you know, having my eyeballs burned out by the sun. And that's okay. That's a good thing. I think that's a fine and good thing. So it's 7:16, so it should be full light right now. So it must be pretty good cloud cover. Whew. Slower traffic, keep right. Okay, I do that. gladly do that. Finally, I like this. Getting out of the, you have to have the headlight zone. I think I'm going to turn my fog lights off. Yeah. If I don't turn them off now, I'll forget and they'll be on all damn day. So I actually have those, Bill wired them to a switch in the cab for me. Alright, here's where Highway 51 dumps out onto 114 if you're coming from Decatur over here toward Weatherford. So there it is. That's the intersection. So we'll go down here another mile and then we'll stay with Highway 51. This is where 114 and 51 combine. Then we're going to leave 114 behind and go with 51 down here at the next turn. So that's the way to go to Weatherford, which is where we want to go. If we stayed on 114, we'd end up in Dallas eventually, and I don't want to do that. I have no interest in going into the Dallas-Fort Worth area today. None, zero whatsoever. I'd rather just circumvent it casually and be happy that I don't have to drive through that godforsaken mess of traffic. It's bad enough going through Weatherford, but it's not as bad as going through Fort Worth. I went into Fort Worth last week. I had to go into Fort Worth because I had a delivery at Fort Worth on Friday, and I delivered it like 11 o'clock Friday morning. It was just an Oklahoma City to Fort Worth job, but it took me until 2 o'clock to get back out of Fort Worth because traffic started getting busy on a Friday. It wasn't even rush hour, but the traffic started getting busy that early in the day because it was Friday. Everybody leaves work early on Friday, I guess, in Fort Worth maybe. You know, people do that in a lot of places, but coming out of Fort Worth was a son of a bitch. I got hung up in traffic. 2 hours to go like 15 miles to get back out north of Fort Worth. It was a little extreme. A little. I didn't get home till 5 o'clock. You know, it's just one of those things that took forever to get home. I should have been home by 3. Yeah, just for comparison's sake. Should be about 3 hours from Fort Worth to my house, roughly, give or take a little. But it was more than that Friday. Considerably more than that Friday. Air up on the window. I don't know if it's fogging up a little bit or if it's just, I don't know what the deal is. But people's headlights look blurry to me. Might just be the focusing capability of the camera with lights. I don't know. Everything else looks pretty sharp. The same thing happened yesterday over in the Panhandle. Right about the time the sun came up, I started getting just a little mist on the windshield. I guess that's due. Maybe. I don't know. Guess it would be. Okay, I got a car up my butt. I've always got cars up my butt. Doesn't matter where I go or what I'm doing. People are stupid about following too close. tailgate the living shit out of you. Drives me nuts. Mostly, I don't want to get sued because some idiot is riding right up my butt and have a deer run out in front of me. I have to hit the brakes and they go up under the trailer and get killed. I mean, I can foresee this kind of shit happening the way people do because they leave themselves no stopping room. So I guess your options are if something runs out in front of you and you got people up your ass, what do? Just hit it, knowing that you're going to wreck your car? Or do you, I don't know, what do you do? So to compensate for that, when I have people tailgating me, I slow down a little bit because they're not only not giving themselves any stopping time, they're decreasing my stopping time to keep them from rear-ending me if I have to stop suddenly. You know, it's like, that's not fair. It's not fair. It's one thing to screw yourself up, but you don't need to be screwing everybody else up around you. But they don't think about it like that. I don't think they think about anything. I think that's part of the problem. There's no thinking going on. It's just, I'm in a hurry and you're in my way, and I'm going to sit on your ass and push on you until you're out of my way. Well, I may not get out of your way. I may be in your way until you decide to go around me, or until we get to the next town and you can turn off or you can go to your job or whatever. Because we're not on the interstate. We've got a speed limit that I'm not going to exceed to make you happy. You know? The joys of traffic. And this is just peripheral traffic to the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. This isn't even the heavy traffic area. So, I mean, there are just a lot of people in this region. Way too damn many people. I need to live someplace that's far less populated, but it's not going to happen because, you know, we're entrenched here. So I just have to kind of accept it and live with it. Don't like it. I'd much rather live in Colorado. I'd much rather live in Moffat County, even with the crappy winters. But I can't afford to do it. Used to be it was cheap to live in Craig, but that was before Craig turned into the cheap rent district for Steamboat that got taken over by cajillionaires. So now the millionaires have moved to Craig, and everybody who works in Steamboat has to just try and, you know, subsist basically because real estate prices are through the roof. You know, supply and demand are all fouled up. Yeah, it's one of those deals. But, you know, you make your choices and then you have to live with them. So we made the choice to leave and come down here when I quit being a cop. And it's actually been a good choice for us, I think. A much better choice. But I don't get to go home much. So, you know, there is that. I miss my family. Don't get to see them once in a blue moon. And Bill's family, I mean, they're okay, but they're not, you know, they're not interested in me. They can give a crap less. They're barely interested in him. They're a weird bunch. I don't know. The only thing they're interested in is their kids and their grandkids. That's it. That's their interest. They don't care about peripheral individuals or any of that. It's just not their thing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There's not. It's just the way they are. You know, I'm just being realistic about it. It's not like a, oh, poor pity me type of thing either. It's just how they are. They don't care. We are not their priority in any way, shape, or form. We're an afterthought a lot of times, or we might be a priority when they need something from us. But as far as like socializing, no, there's no socializing. I don't just go drink coffee with my in-laws and hang out and visit. I mean, there are a couple reasons I don't. You know, I love them. They're good people. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not crazy or anything. They're just different. They have different priorities. like when I go to their house, I cannot hear in their house. I'm going deaf as it is. I mean, I know that. Too many years of shooting and playing bass and listening to loud music and all that. It takes its toll. So I already know that I'm going deaf. I've got some measure of hearing loss. So in certain environments, I cannot hear. And their house is one of those certain environments where I cannot hear. It's a big house with a real high ceiling. They've got tile floors clear through the house. There's no soft surfaces in the room. It's all hard. It's acoustically a nightmare. And the TV's always on loud. And then multiple people are always talking at the same time. So I can't hear what the hell anybody's saying. So I sit there and smile and go, you know, I can't just sit and drink coffee and visit. But that's their house. That's their prerogative. They can run their house like they want to. I run my house differently. You know, if I have company, I turn the damn TV off. I don't even have a TV in the living room. We have TVs in our, Bill's got one in his den and I've got one in the bedroom. We don't sit and watch TV in the living room, in the public areas of the house. I don't have a sofa in the living room, so nobody can lounge in there to start with. And the reason I don't have a sofa is because cats. I don't have any cushioned furniture in the living room. I've got a couple of wooden rocking chairs and some tables, and that's it. I mean, I don't have places to sit down and get all cushy, but I do have a nice dining room table, and that's where I do my visiting. If we have company, we all sit at the dining room table and visit. No radio, no TV. We sit and talk. And our house isn't a big house. It doesn't have a high ceiling. It's just normal. So the acoustics are good. I can actually hear in our house. So without the other stuff, being annoying, it's just one of those deals. It's just not, their environment is not conducive to me going over and spending time there. Now, when I go visit my family, we sit and talk. I mean, that's what we do. If it's my sister, we usually sit in her kitchen or her dining room or wherever outside and we talk. Drink coffee and talk. Same thing with my brother. And I go to my brother's house and I stay with him a lot when I do go up there. He's got a spare bedroom, which my sister doesn't have, so it's a good place for me to stay. And we'll sit at his breakfast bar in his kitchen and drink coffee and talk. Or if we want to watch TV, we'll go upstairs and watch TV or whatever, But it's not, but we still don't just sit there and not talk. So I don't get that as far as visiting. I mean, if you're going to have somebody over to visit, why wouldn't you visit with them instead of just sitting there with the TV on, yelling at people across the room? It's funny. People are different. People got different ways of doing things, and that's how it is. But it's kind of funny. So this is Springtown, Texas, I think. Pretty sure this is Springtown. Yeah, Springtown. Kind of a neat little old town. I think there's a date on this building. Grandmaster, leveled by the Grand Lodge of Texas, 1807 to 1907, 1897. I can't read that. Okay, 1897. I guess that building was built. This one, right next to us here, which you can't see because I'm not backed out far enough. Damn it! Sorry about that, guys. Back you clear out for the time being. Get you the widest view possible.